How to get into corporate management in conversation with Mr. Debabrata Samaddar. Mr. Samaddar has around 35 years of experience in non-ferrous and ferrous industries, working in some reputed multinational companies in areas of sales, marketing, operations and business excellence and development. For last several years, he's worked with Tata Steel downstream steel processing in India and Asia as a leader. He's lectured in multiple management institutes and is a member of CII Marketing Subcommittee. So what are the required academic qualifications?
The academic requirements basically can be of different types depending on the type of the job. If somebody is purely on, let's say, engineering, then he has to have an engineering degree from a recognized college. Then if he has to go up the ladder, then he needs to have a management degree also. Now the management degree also can be available from the different colleges. Some of them give PGDM like IIM and XLRI, and some of them give a pure MBA, which is a 2 years course. So basically, to have a complete, let's say, package of qualification, one needs to have definitely a engineering degree and also, to top it up, a management degree. These two are very important. Desirable quality is a engineering degree, and essential and desirable both would be management and engineering, both.
What are the required skills apart from academics?
The skills required basically would be definitely the academic part of it. Apart from academic, there are various skills which are required. One is the management skill. Now how to, because you are basically working with a set of people. Although in the work from home culture, people have not interacted much with different people. So that part of management or interaction skill was not required. But these days, once people have come back to work in office, in a brick and mortar system, then people have to have a system of having interaction with all. Next one, there are different soft skills required. Empathy is a very important one. Without empathy, you can't even understand what the other things are doing. Now it all depends on what type of job you are doing in this corporate atmosphere. If you are in a factory atmosphere, then you need to be very comfortable working with those blue collar workers who are not graduate enough or who are not educated enough. But you have to come down to that level to talk to them. If you are in an IT atmosphere where all your colleagues are professionally qualified, then you have to rise up to the occasion and do that necessary skilling. That means upskilling yourself to do that. Next is very important is respect for the individual. So when you are working and talking with different people, some of them definitely would be junior to you, and you do generally in an Indian culture you pay respect to the seniors. But in Indian culture, paying respect to the juniors is not a very in thing. You can take them for granted, but these days the people are very, very professional, and I can tell you that once you start respecting individual, they will respect you and the motivation will come automatically. You have to be very clear about gender sensibility. In these days, people have a very, very weakness on this sort of things because they feel that they can take the entire thing for granted. Like, I give an example of, if you meet a lady colleague, you can't say you are looking good. This is not done. Because people can say, no, I can do that because I am telling and appreciating, but people in the ladies may not take it that way. So you have to be very clear what are the things you need to do and what are the things you must resist and avoid doing it. So these are the basic skills which are required, and continuously you have to learn. Keep your eyes and ears open, and you can understand signals will come which will actually help you to rectify yourself.
What is the scope of growth in this profession?
See, the growth is immense. It's enormous in front of you. It's a ladder which actually ends quite at the top, and people may not fathom that what is the height of that ladder. It all depends on how you perform, how you give back to that company. Because you see, the company also is investing on you. If suppose you are recruited as a junior most level, as a junior engineer, and then you slowly go up, company invests a lot of their training. So they call it learning and development. L&D is a subject by itself. So it is important that you assimilate those training. You learn yourself and rise up to the occasion, and the next rung of the ladder will automatically be available for you. You can't jump. There are rungs which are available and which you can go one step ahead. But at the end of the day, you must know there is a big saying by a very important management professional, and he said that what got you here won't get you there. What it means is that you have, let's say, become a Ranji Trophy player in cricket. But that is not good enough for you to become an India player. So you have been very successful graduating yourself from a school level player to a Ranji Trophy player. But then, for getting into an India rank, then you have to perform more. So that means performance has to be continuous. As you grow up, the challenges also would be quite immense. So you have to face the challenges, learn from them, keep performing better to be in the race. The important thing is, if you stop performing, then the ladder is no more there with you. So performance is the key, and along with that, as I told earlier, the soft skills are all important. The moment you go up the ladder, you don't perform the same way as you have been performing 10 years back. When you go up the ladder, your basic job is to create leaders. Now you have become a leader by that time. You have to create leaders. If you can create leaders, then you become a right person to be at the top.
What are the boons and the banes of the profession?
The boons are many. When you get the salary check, it is a boon. When you get a promotion letter, it is a boon. When you get an increment, it is a boon. When you get a pat on the back, it is a boon. When you get a special invitation from your boss, it is a boon. But yes, there are certain less, let's say, encouraging things, because in a corporate culture there are people who are constantly observing you. Now the point is, if you take it that easily and resort to loose talks or, let's say, passing remarks which are unwarranted, then people feel that this particular person is not very trusted enough or lacks the desired maturity. So what happens is, it has been seen and it has been also observed in many of the corporate people or corporate environment or ecosystem. A greatly performing character or a greatly performing person suddenly has fallen out of favor. Why? The reason is, you are constantly evaluated not only by your boss, but you are constantly evaluated by the entire ring of people who are surrounding you. That's called a 360-degree feedback. Now in 360-degree feedback, your boss gives a feedback about you. Your peers give a feedback about you. Your subordinates give a feedback about you. Now, when you are going up, all these feedbacks from these three different sources are taken to decide whether this particular person is a really acceptable person to take up the next job. So you have to be very careful, and it actually comes automatically. You cannot be an activist in a corporate culture. You cannot be a revolutionary in the corporate culture. Neither you can be, typically a Che Guevara in corporate culture. You have to go along with that. You have to be likable and also acceptable. As long as you are likable and acceptable, it is very important for you to be on these two things, and you are on.
What about the working hours and the duration of service?
A youngster enters after graduating from college, and that age would be around 22, 23 years. So that is, first of all, the entry age. If you are doing postgraduate, another 2 years plus minus, rather in the plus side. So you enter at the age of 25. Now, it has been seen in different traditional industries, the retirement age is 60. In some of the multinational companies, still they maintain 58. In some of the other institutions, they add few more years and it is 65. Educational institutions have a retiring age of 65. Now, so you have a span of 25 years to 60, that is 35 years. It's a long time. So option is yours. You can go on putting 35 years and retire at the age of 60, or if there's too much of pressure, then there are a lot of cases where people getting burnt out. People getting burnt out means people are getting fatigued. They are unable to perform the way they have been. So they take retirement at the age of 45 also. Earlier, several years back, the MD of a company generally were at the age of 55 plus. That was the general trend. Unless until you have grey hairs and receding hairlines, you can't become an MD. But these days, a lot of CEOs of the companies are at the age of 35, 40. And they put in another 10 more years, and then they retire, or they go for a voluntary retirement and go to the board. Now, board of directors is another case. So if you are well performing, you become a CEO of a company, then very slowly you can also get a seat in the board. And once you are getting a seat in the board, you are not limited to one company. You can be a board member of multiple companies. So there are various ways. So generally, earlier 35 years was the innings one played, but these days it is getting shorter. It is actually the option is for that incumbent, who chooses to continue or doesn't choose to continue and sort of retire earlier. So that's the span.
What about the post-retirement possibilities?
Okay, I think this is a question which has different answers. It all depends on what is the passion for that particular person. Now, a person who retires at the age of 50 can be very active intellectually if he chooses to follow his passion of, let's say, music or writing or blogging or whatever is there. Then if somebody retires at 60 and going for a good health or maintaining a good health, then he can always work as a consultant for various companies. It all depends on how much amount of intrinsic value you have amassed in your 20, 30, 35 years. If you have amassed that particular experience and knowledge, then people will be there to, knock your door and get that knowledge, because knowledge is extremely rare and scarce. So important thing during your 35 years or 25 years of career is to get the experience and get the knowledge. And once you have that, retirement is not there actually for you, because people will be thronging to take you and get your services. That's something which happens. But there are people who do not want to get into this continuous job of working, and they gracefully retire and go for a spiritual life. So the choice is entirely for that particular person, and also the health of the person, the mental health and the physical health both.
What about the salary structure?
When you talk about income or the range of income, I can tell you that income chases you at that certain point of time. You don't have to chase income. Typically, the starting salary in these days for a reasonably good institution of good standing, the starting salary for a graduate student, for engineering graduate student, is around 8 lakhs per annum, obviously. 8 lakhs cost to the company. So your take in hand will be little lesser, maybe 30% lesser. Now you can say that it is not that median salary. There is a mean median salary. Median salary is, let's say, the middle level salary. Out of 100 students from a class, the top person can be getting, it has happened this year only, IIT Kharagpur and IIT Kanpur students have got 1 crore. 1 crore salary per year. The posting may be in US or in Singapore and in Hong Kong, but in the same batch of 100 students, let's say, the one salary, the bottommost salary can be 10-12 lakhs. But the median salary is very important. It is not average, it is a median. The median salary can be, let's say, around 13 lakhs, 14 lakhs. This I am talking about an institute of repute. Now, if there are other institutes which are of lesser standing, they can fetch a different type of salary band, maybe starting from 4 lakhs on. Typically in an IT company, the initial recruits or the entry level is 4 lakhs now. But then the increment also happens every year. It's roughly around inflation plus 2 or 3%. So roughly, let's say around 9 to 10% increment is there. Then there is also an increase for that rank jump. Let's say you have joined as a deputy manager. The moment you are promoted to a manager, then there is a lump sum which comes in. Finally, the sky is the limit, because if a good performing company is there, then you will definitely get a good salary, and it increases as the market increases. There are professional companies like Hayes is there, then Mercer is there, who also does the salary assessments and salary evaluation. These days it is more of a global level. India is not something that is standing out as an exception. If you are good, whatever somebody is earning in US, you will also earn the same thing. We are in 2023, and what we were 20 years back has completely changed. COVID has taught us various lessons. It has taught us how to work from home and how to be not in the company of 100 workers, and how to be equally effective going through Google Meet or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever are the other softwares. They are equally effective. These days, even the customers do not want you to visit their places. So you don't need to travel 1,000 miles and 10,000 miles to go and meet a customer, take his appointment. They also don't need that, because you can always log in through Zoom or any other platform and then be equally effective. I know few days back or few years back, before COVID, we in our company used to have that video call. Okay, so everybody used to log in and the video was there, and so those days were, I think that's the best possible way. Within few days after COVID, things have changed. Now the video conferencing instruments are electronic waste. You can't see a video conferencing instrument anymore anywhere. In some companies, those who actually believe in much more advanced technology, there was a technology called teleconference or telemeetings, So teleconferences were just like two people are sitting across the board or across a table, and they were having a formal discussion. So the entire appearance was like that, and it was crystal clear. And I remember I attended few of them, and as if that you are talking face to face. So even the telepresence, the term was telepresence, that also is obsolete now. People don't even, those who are marketing their products has nothing to market now. People have thrown away all these gadgets. Now this Microsoft Teams is there, Google Meet is there, Zoom is there, and there are many others where you can have everything humanly possible to have this feeling of physical meetings. So the entire trend has changed. So that is number one. And number two is many of the things which are happening, this is all through the intelligence. So you don't have to dig into Google and other things to find out an answer. Artificial intelligence and machine learning has already been making serious progresses, immense progresses. The latest one is the OpenAI. There's a institution in US where Tesla's gentleman is basically one of the founder members, Elon Musk, and there are many others who are sponsors. They have started the ChatGPT. Now ChatGPT can perform and can sit in an exam and pass. Very recently, one of the universities in US, they have allowed ChatGPT to appear for their law exam, and ChatGPT has passed that exam. The ChatGPT may not have secured the topper mark, but ChatGPT has passed the exam. So these days, ChatGPT actually is utilized to check the research papers, whether that research paper has stolen or lifted, is a sign of plagiarism. But I was told that in one of the institutions in US, that entire research paper was plagiarized. But nobody could understand it. It was basically through ChatGPT. So that means to what extent this artificial intelligence can really do that particular incident that particular incident ChatGPT has lifted the entire content of a research, a PhD paper, from some other already published PhD paper, which nobody could even find it out. So I think these days the things have actually, changed a lot. You can go on talking and talking. Amazon in their warehouse has put a band in their workers' wrist, where they can control and they can monitor what is the rest time of that particular worker, whether he is resting too much out of their 8-hour schedule or he is working too much. So there are many such cases like this. In fact, there are intelligence where people say that how many times you are interacting with your colleagues. If colleagues keep on interacting among themselves, there is a very nice work culture. But if the colleagues are just not interacting among themselves, that also can be moderated and monitored through software. So there are various ways and means which has happened now.
Who has been your idol?
And so initially, I idolized. There's a gentleman who was there in our Tata group called Gopal Krishnan, who has authored quite a number of books. I think the recent one, I think, is a comma in a sentence, and another book was The Bonsai Manager. This Bonsai Manager brings me to that same topic which you said, that what is the limit. So he said that don't become a bonsai manager. Okay, so you have to be a normal, fully grown tree. Don't become a bonsai manager. That was his point. So he was one of my guru at that time. Then as we grow up, then we found that there are quite a number of people who are equally good. A leader need not throw weights around. A leader can be a leader even if he talks less. He need not be flamboyant. So there is a gentleman in a company, I think in Rallies India, I have seen one, Mr. Kumar. I think I found him to be very reticent, hardly talked in meetings and all, but he opened his mouth and only gave a small direction or evaluated others' comments, but he kept on performing. So I think there are different types of leaders at different points of time. I met one leader who was very spiritual, and whenever you are down, whenever you are depressed, then he is the person to approach, and I am sure that he could have made you absolutely perfect and happy. So it all depends on the different experience you go through one's life. In the toughest situation, you rediscover a person in front of you. So idols keep changing. So there are different qualities, and which quality is more required by you at what particular point of time is very important.
Your words of advice for the aspiring lecturers and professors.
The advice I think I can give is which is straight from a horse's mouth like me, who has run the course and still running to a certain extent. When a horse runs in a horse racing, only one horse can come a winner, or maximum 2 horses when there's a photo finish. And there are several horses who are lagging behind, but people still bet on them. You never know, in the next course or next race, you can be the winner. But the point is, you can't give up the race. World is very cruel. And I have seen a horse who has given up racing is rejected by his owner also. So you can't give up. This is actually a race which has to be won. There is no doubt about it. But it is not that those who are not winning are losing. There can be one winner, but there are several winners too. So you have to find out satisfaction out of it. And you have to find it out that whether you are performing, whether you are contributing. At the end of the day, I think one of my bosses have said that every day you have to evaluate one thing, whether you have given something to the company where you are working in, and whether the company is giving back to you. As long as both are positive, carry on. If by any chance you find that one is negative or one is very much different from the other, then it is time to rethink on your career.
Life is not what happens to you, it is majorly what you make out of it.
Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, like and share the video and press the bell icon so that you don't miss any video. Do follow me on Instagram and Facebook.